Battlefield maps used to be huge. Then they felt tight. Now they feel different. And the funny thing, none of this happened overnight. It happened inch by inch, game by game. Now, as the franchise evolves, so do the maps. So, let's lay it all out and find out where X marks the spot. Today we're not pointing fingers, we're not lighting torches, we're not gathering our pitchforks, we're tracing the design footprints that got us from Caspian Border to Sunken Harbor, to Exposure, to Blackwell, to whatever Battlefield 6 comes up with next. The question isn't which map was better. The real question is, how did Battlefield change the way we move on the maps? Now, Battlefield players talk a lot about map size, but size is actually the least interesting part of that story. The real story is, how much usable space do you have? How far can you flank before hitting the out-of-bounds wall? How many angles exist at once? How often you get to dictate the engagement instead of reacting to it? The size of the maps in the franchise have varied wildly throughout the years. Right now, the king of all Battlefield maps is Battlefield 5's Halvoy. Bandu Desert from Battlefield 3 is pretty big and one of the biggest. Now, I mentioned in a previous video that Clara the Red and Penguin on PC took the time and energy to list the maps throughout the franchise and list them in order from largest to smallest, and Battlefield 6 maps currently rank in the mid-size ranges at best. Now, I listed the link to their findings in the description, so please take a few minutes to check it out. Now, a big map can feel small. A small map can feel large and huge. Bad Company 2 proved that. Battlefield 4 proved that. 2042 proved that. And Battlefield 6 is proving it again, just in a different way. Now, you line up these games and you see the shift immediately. Now, full disclosure, I didn't play every Battlefield ever made. I didn't start with 1942. I didn't start with Battlefield 2. My journey started the same way millions of other Battlefield players started. Battlefield 3 to Battlefield 4. And then I went backward. Bad Company and Bad Company 2. And then forward again. Battlefield 1, 2042, and now Battlefield 6. That sequence, Battlefield 3 through Battlefield 6, is where the franchise evolved the most. So let's walk that arc. Bad Company 2 was just absolute controlled chaos, and the maps encouraged you to think. And think ahead. The maps were small on paper, but they felt enormous because flanks were long, buildings were destructible, sightlines were readable, team pushes really mattered. You dictated the fight. You weren't compressed, you weren't funneled, you weren't punished for trying to outthink the lobby. Battlefield 3 had purposeful space. It expanded everything Bad Company 2 started. Sign Crossing, Caspian Border, Damavad Peak, Karg Island. Oh, I do love me some Karg Island. The maps were wider than they looked. That playable envelope let you flank, reposition, counter angle, even pick your style. Battlefield 3 respected what you wanted to try. Now, Battlefield 4 was the golden ratio. Now, before I start getting comments, yes, I'm in the camp of Battlefield 4 was peak. But no, it's not in the way that I should pack up my gear or go play it because I have opinions about Battlefield 6. I'm suggesting that if Bad Company 2 was the spark and Battlefield 3 was the blueprint, Battlefield 4 was the execution. It perfected the mid-range fights, the flank routes, the counterplays, the risk-reward pushes, the elevation interplays, and combined arms pacing. Battlefield 4 maps by no means were flawless. but they aged better than almost any first-person shooter maps in 15 years of this style of game I have played. And I played a lot of them. Battlefield 3, Bad Company 2, Battlefield 4, they were Battlefield distilled. And then things changed. Battlefield 1 is such a beautiful detour. Those maps had huge artistic scale, but tighter, more constrained playable spaces. Because World War I combat demanded it. With the trench lines, the no-man land funnels, even narrow approach corridors within city ruins. It wasn't poor design, it was thematic design. Players didn't complain because it matched the setting and was close to depictions of real life for that time. But the constricted approach philosophy stayed when World War I ended. And Battlefield 2042 is when big maps played small. 2042 launched with wide, empty maps that actually played tiny. Long travel times, empty midsections, too little vertical cover, stretched sight lines, easy to spawn camp areas, and it punished flanking maneuvers. The emergency reworks told the whole story. Let's add cover, let's add lanes, and let's add funnel control. Battlefield wasn't expanding, it was tightening. And that philosophy didn't reset when Battlefield 6 started development. Matter of fact, it carried it forward. And now we have the compression era of the franchise. Battlefield 6 maps aren't small because of their dimensions, they're small because of the devs squeezed in the out-of-bounds areas, especially in the middle of the maps. We now have a slew of forced lanes and predictable approach vectors. We now have compressed mid-range timing with faster TTK with higher SMG viability, and we have visibility systems that reward proximity. Whether it's Sunken Harbor, Blackwell Fields, Red Leica, Stasiland, different maps, same design Bible. Now, the maps aren't bad, not in the design artistic way. They're just built for a different Battlefield. A faster, leaner, more, dare I say it out loud, Call of Duty-like pacing structure. Intentionally or accidentally. And I'm leaning towards intentionally. And veteran players felt it immediately. Remember, kids, this isn't a complaint, it's an eval. This would be no different if I was a Call of Duty player and pointed out that Black Ops 7 wasn't feeling like or even close to the same game as Black Ops 1, 2, or 6 for that matter. And yes, I understand game evolution. However, you are going to have those players that want updates to the franchise and feel or look or behave like the older games. You're going to have that in every franchise. They should be the minority voice, though. My intention is not, back in my day. This isn't doom and gloom. This isn't a panic button. This isn't Battlefield is dying. It's not that at all. It's just pointing out a simple pivot point. The question going forward is, does Battlefield keep tightening the playable space, or does it reclaim the flanking freedom that defined its identity for 20 years? Neither direction is wrong, but only one direction feels like Battlefield. And as someone who's played Bad Company 2 through Battlefield 6, as someone who's watched this pendulum swing multiple times, I can tell you, this is the moment that decides the next decade. Whatever DICE chooses next is going to reshape the entire Battlefield identity. But I do want to hear your opinions. A lot of you had some with the gun video, so I am assuming there's going to be opinions about the maps. And I want to hear them, so please drop them in the comments. Now, before you roll out, before you X out of my video, please take a moment and check the description for this month's Veteran Spotlight. MSGA, Military Support Groups of America. Share it, learn about it, or support however you can. And thanks for watching. Till the next one. Out.